The Rise and Fall of Commodore Computers, a historical overview, tech history for busy people. Commodore co-founders Jack Tramiel and Manfred Kapp met in the early 1950s while both employed by the Ace Typewriter Repair Company in New York City. In 1954, they partnered to sell used and reconditioned typewriters and used their profits to purchase the Singer Typewriter Company. After acquiring a local dealership selling Everest adding machines, Tramiel convinced Everest to give him and Kapp exclusive Canadian rights to its products and established Everest Office Machines in Toronto in 1955. The adding machine business was winding down by 1958. Through a contact with an Everest representative in England, Tramiel learned about a potential business venture to bring portable typewriters made in Czechoslovakia into Canada. To market the imported typewriters, Tramiel and Kapp established Commodore Portable Typewriter Limited in Toronto on October 10, 1958. Commodore funded its operations through factoring, meaning it sold its account receivables over its first 2 years, but faced a continual cash crunch. To bolster the company's financial condition, Tramiel and Kapp sold a portion of the company to Atlantic Acceptance Corporation. With the financial backing of Atlantic Acceptance, Commodore expanded rapidly in the early 1960s. It purchased a factory in West Germany to manufacture its typewriters, began distributing office furniture for a Canadian manufacturer, and sold Pearl Sound radio and stereo equipment. In 1965, Atlantic Acceptance collapsed when it failed to make a routine payment. A subsequent investigation by a royal commission revealed a massive fraud scheme in which the company falsified financial records to acquire loans funneled into a web of subsidiaries where C. Powell Morgan held a personal stake. Morgan then pocketed the money or invested it in several unsuccessful ventures. Commodore was one of the Atlantic subsidiaries directly implicated in this scheme. Despite heavy suspicion, the commission could not find evidence of wrongdoing by Tramiel or Kapp. In the 1970s, Chuck Peddle convinced Jack Tramiel that calculators were a dead-end business and that they should turn their attention to home computers. Peddle packaged his single-board computer design in a metal case, initially with a keyboard using calculator keys, later with a full-travel QWERTY keyboard, monochrome monitor, and tape recorder for program and data storage, to produce the Commodore PET, an acronym for Personal Electronic Transactor. From PET's 1977 debut, Commodore was primarily a computer company. By 1980, Commodore was one of the 3 largest microcomputer companies and the largest in the common market. The company had lost its early domestic market sales leadership. However, by mid-1981, its U.S. market share was less than 5%, and U.S. computer magazines rarely discussed Commodore products. In 1982, Commodore introduced the Commodore 64 C64 as the successor to the VIC-20. Due to its chips designed by MOS Technology, the C64 possessed advanced sound and graphics for its time and is often credited with starting the computer demo scene. Its $595 price, equivalent to $1,800 in 2023, was high compared to that of the VIC-20, but was much less expensive than any other 64K computer. Near the end of its life, Commodore suffered a poor reputation with its dealers and customers, and upon the 1987 introduction of the Amiga 2000, Commodore retreated from its earlier strategy of selling its computers to discount outlets and toy stores and favored authorized dealers. Adam Osborne stated that in April 1981, the microcomputer industry abounds with horror stories describing the way Commodore treats its dealers and its customers. Tramiel's successor, Marshall F. Smith, left the company in 1986, as did his successor Thomas Rattigan in 1987 after a failed boardroom coup, which is a sudden and often unexpected takeover or transfer of power of an organization or company. The coup is usually performed by an individual or a small group, usually from within the corporation, in order to seize power. With Commodore International having reported a $8.2 million quarterly loss in the U.S., hopes were expressed that the UK and European divisions might be able to continue trading and even survive the demise of the parent company, with a management buyout considered a possibility. Commodore became insolvent in 1994 and licensed its intellectual property to many companies through the years, with the licensees having minimal success. The company's computer systems, mainly the C64 and Amiga series, retain a cult following decades after their demise. In February 2017, an exhibition room for about 200 Commodore products was opened in Braunschweig, commemorating the European production site of Commodore with up to 2,000 employees.